I'm delighted to see so many people here today. It's great that we have such interest from right across the entire public service here. We've got people from central government, we've got people from local government, health, education, justice, defence, the education sector, as I've already mentioned. So it's fantastic that we have so many people here today. Obviously, we've a directive which is staring us down the face at this moment in time, which I presume has prompted some people's interest. So if you're looking for a backstop plan, I'm afraid this is the one, and I don't think it's going to be renegotiated. It's a great testament to the work that has been done in generating interest in the e-invoicing project, that we have about 4 times the number of people here at this event than we had less than 12 months ago at the one we held last year. So it's a huge turnout in terms of interest in this, in the topic. As I've mentioned, collaboration with our sector partners in health, education, defence, and central and local government is an essential element of all the work we do in the OGP. And it is through this collaboration that we drive together the procurement reform programme. Looking for opportunities to innovate and to leverage technology and data to deliver better outcomes for our public and businesses is a key part of that reform. Sometimes, though, the challenge of an imminent European directive can be just the spark we collectively need to enable us to make things better. Today's event is important in that regard, and as in the year ahead, on foot of a European directive, e-invoicing will take centre stage in the digital transformation of public procurement across Europe. The Office of Government Procurement established the eInvoicing Ireland programme to raise awareness of that directive on e-invoicing and to facilitate and enable public bodies achieve compliance. However, the opportunity presented in this directive and by e-invoicing in general promises greater efficiencies for both private and public sector, which go well beyond compliance. It provides an opportunity to improve the way in which businesses interact with government, to allow for greater efficiencies through digitisation and automation. However, I'm going to leave it to the local and international experts who you'll hear from later to go through the benefits in more detail and to share with you their experiences of the differences that e-invoicing can make. Being here today is about representing your organisations, bringing your questions forward, gaining understanding about what e-invoicing is about, to take the first steps towards e-invoicing implementation together. This is a real example of what we mean and talk about in terms of innovative transformation and collaboration to improve efficiencies across the public service. E-invoicing Ireland and the e-invoicing project is a whole of government approach, embracing innovative digital technology to enable better ways for us to connect and transact for the benefit of businesses and public bodies alike. The national approach to e-invoicing is therefore very much aligned with the core objectives of DEPR's plan for our Public Service 2020 vision and framework. The OGP is also dedicated to driving a more integrated, shared and digital transformation that will generate greater efficiencies and effectiveness in service delivery, which is also at the heart of e-government and public sector ICT strategies. The OGP has contributed first-hand to leveraging the opportunities of digitisation through our commitment recently through innovations such as the European Single Procurement Document and building information modelling, which is now going to become much more pervasive in the construction space. By joining Open PEPAL as a PEPAL authority, the OGP gives Ireland a voice and role to collaborate with our European counterparts in standardising and promoting the exchange of electronic documents in public procurement across Europe. Ultimately, these initiatives are about improving how businesses transact with government, and e-invoicing in particular will allow for greater transparency across government expenditure, providing informative data that will help shape business decision-making and ultimately lead to better outcomes for the public and for businesses. Shared services are central to the national e-invoicing approach and, over time, are expected to become the main implementation points for e-invoicing in Ireland, facilitating e-invoicing compliance for large segments of the public service. This approach supports government's commitment to enhancing the value derived from our shared services. Centralising services is at the heart of what the OGP does, and with our sourcing teams being responsible for the development of national frameworks which enable the centralisation of procurement. I'm pleased to confirm today that the national framework for the provision of PEPAL network and e-invoicing systems and services to the public sector has been established by the OGP. Members of the sourcing team are here today, and those responsible for that framework will later guide you through how to navigate that framework and access the services and solutions that you may need. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the sourcing team who were supported by eInvoicing Ireland and our partners across the sectors for all the hard work in establishing this comprehensive framework. It is worth noting that the European Directive set a challenging timeline for all Member States to achieve compliance, in particular those member states like Ireland, which are at the early stages of digital transformation in public administration. In less than 17 months from the European standard for e-invoicing being established, eInvoicing Ireland, working with the OGP and our sector partners, have coordinated the requirements of 4 different sectors to meet the obligations of the e-invoicing directive. It's a very short period of time, and to establish various other legal and policy considerations to support the establishment of the comprehensive framework in time for the 18th of April of this year. While the framework aims to serve our public bodies, the OGP also recognises the very important role played by SMEs in the Irish economy. This is done through various engagement events, as well as our founding membership of the SME Advisory Group, chaired by the Minister of State with special responsibility for public procurement, Patrick O'Donovan. The success of Irish e-invoicing service providers from the SME community making it onto this framework demonstrates the opportunities for Irish SMEs in public procurement. Opening up opportunities for businesses across Europe is a key driver behind Europe's adoption of the e-invoicing directive. I would like to thank our colleagues from the European Commission's Connecting Europe, or CEF team, for coming here today to deliver the presentations and in supporting Irish public service in moving a step closer to e-invoicing implementation. CEF, and in particular CEF Digital, demonstrates Europe's commitment to the digital agenda. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, the Connecting Europe facility, or CEF, demonstrates Europe's commitment to the digital agenda and is a key EU funding instrument used to promote growth and competitiveness through targeted investments across Europe in digital infrastructure and services, amongst other areas. Indeed, a number of Irish public and private sector projects and initiatives, including those of the OGP, such as the ESPD project I mentioned earlier, have benefited from grant funding available through CEF, so it's something to think about. There will be an opportunity here today to hear more about the latest round of funding available specifically for e-invoicing, which, as I understand it, has a focus on member states at an earlier stage of the e-invoicing journey. In that context, we in Ireland can learn from Europe and the experience of countries where e-invoicing has reached greater maturity. To that end, I would like to thank and welcome Cornelis, who's joining us as Head of e-invoicing in the Netherlands, who you will hear from later in the presentation, for travelling here today to share the journey and learnings from the Dutch situation. I think hearing from Cornelis will help to emphasise the European perspective on e-invoicing as a key enabler in the move towards a digital single market, breaking down trade barriers and allowing for greater interoperability in public procurement. This directive has created a real impetus. I think our European colleagues will agree across Europe. We need to harness that momentum in Ireland and make the most of the opportunity to bring down the trade barriers to business. So whether you're here today to understand how you can implement e-invoicing to reach basic compliance with the directive, or are considering a much more integrated solution to reap the full benefits of e-invoicing, you are all starting on a journey that will see a real digital transformation of the public service. The results being greater transparency and insights across government expenditure, process efficiencies and better outcomes for the public and for businesses in Ireland and across Europe. I hope you enjoyed today's session. You will when I get off the stage. And I encourage you to make the most of what will be a very busy and hopefully informative workshop. I'd encourage you to engage with the team here and with your colleagues in the room, because we're all on that journey now at this moment in time. And so there's a great opportunity that this event actually brings. So make the most of the information sharing and support that you can access here. And together we can work to bring about e-invoicing across the public service for both the benefit of the public and for the private sectors.